Okay, so we have 4 goats here. Hopefully you can see them. Nubian on the top, Saanen here in the front with the white, the black and white spotted one back there on the bin is a Nigerian, and then underneath there is a Nigerian mixed with an Angora. So that one will actually sort of get sheep's wool, and you'll have to trim it out. So right now we just have a couple pallets. Those pallets are nice because they don't have any gaps in them and they can't catch their feet. The doghouse over here they like to use to rest during the daytime, and then at night we shut them in this house my wife built. It's about a 5x5 area, raised, so that way they're not sitting in the dirt. And of course their water bowl on the side here and sun area on the side. So this is all temporary fencing, fence that we had sitting around with T-posts driven in. We just threw some gates up. This is really just temporary in our larger back fenced area, but we want a more permanent solution. Over here was a quarantine area, so when we got the 2 smaller ones, the Angora and Nigerian, they were in this side because they had coccidia, so we had to treat that. Luckily coccidia is not passable between goats and dogs. It's different, so our dogs could still be in that area with them. We do let them out here to graze into the main backyard here, but it's not a permanent solution because they can get to the back porch, and so they'll jump up on my grill and on our table and stuff like that. So what we're doing right now is planning on what we're going to do for the fence. Our first step here was to figure out where the corners were going to be. So we just walked around and figured out exactly, or I'll say roughly, where we wanted to put those. Then I got this measuring wheel on Amazon. So let me open that up. This is pretty nice because it folds up so compact into that bag. So just snap that up, and this, like that, and then you're ready to go. And so then of course you have to reset it to 0. And then I just walk the perimeter of the fence with the measuring wheel and write down all the lengths of the sides, and I'll show you that next here, on a piece of paper. And the wife and I talked about where we wanted the gates to be placed. We have the shed over here, so we want to be able to come out of the shed, get into the gate, and then we're going to divide this pasture here into 2 separate pastures, this side and this side. And so there's going to be a gate to get into the pasture here, and then another gate here to get into the other side. So back there we have an old greenhouse. It actually looks in worse shape than it actually is. It was in use probably about 2 years ago, and then the plastic blew off. My dad was growing tomatoes in there. So this is my dad's farm that we are purchasing. The paperwork hasn't settled yet, but all the payments have been made. So so for this fence, you can do a high tensile. Everybody says it differently a little bit. That's how I say it. Tensile fence. Because we have goats, and those are just single strands of wire, even if you put electric on, it's still a little bit scary that they could jump through that. So we're going to get goat wire, which I'll show you then is a grid pattern, so they won't be able to get out, hopefully nearly as easily. But I do want to make it as robust as I can, so that way we can potentially have other animals. We're undecided what other animals we'll get. We'll probably get maybe alpaca, donkey, some cows, even a pony we've been talking about. So we haven't completely decided on exactly what we're going to do. But first step here is to sort of define what we actually want. So as you can see, I'm measuring this, and this is about where the corner will be. Here we have some, my dad's still cleaning this up. These are vehicles that he would sell. He was partnered with a car lot, and then these happen to be repossessed, and so they haven't made it to the junkyard yet. But so this is a road back to the greenhouse, so this makes sense for it to be the corner. Then we'll head up this way to the greenhouse. We're going to convert the greenhouse into a barn. So I'm not sure how much of the original structure we'll be able to use. We'll be able to use the floor. It's a poured concrete in there, which is nice. That way the animals can get off the wet ground. That helps prevent hoof rot and stuff. So this will be about where the fence comes to, come up here and tie into the greenhouse, and then similarly on the other side. So I'll give you a look into the greenhouse right here. So this current state, we have it mostly all cleared out. He was doing aquaponics, so he had a water system throughout here going into these buckets. So most of that's been removed and recycled and sold as necessary. There's also heating, radiant heating in the floor, in the concrete. There's PEX tubing that goes through. It shoots hot water through. You can see a manifold over there in the far corner. So if we do get some extreme cold here, I live in PA, so usually doesn't get too bad, but if we do, we'll be able to heat up the floor. Now, because this is pretty big and we don't really intend on having that many animals, current intention is to split it maybe half and half and put a wood shop in this half and then have animal pens on the other half. So next I will show you the paperwork which describes how to build the fence and gives you an area to lay out pretty closely, except for stringing the wires, where I'll use the mesh for the goats. So this is red band or something like that. Yeah, Red Brand. This is their website. They had a blog about goating fences. So yeah, my goal here is to build a fence that I can house, like I said, multiple species. Specifically, though, we have goats at the moment, and I do know they are some of the trickier ones to keep in. So in theory, if I make it so that it will contain those, but strong enough to hold cows, then we should be all good. In these PDFs here, both of them have an area to draw a diagram on the last page. So now that I had all my measurements, I went ahead and drew my rectangle here, placed the gates, and each corner has 6-inch posts, 6 to 7 inches in diameter, and the line posts have I think it's 4 to 5 inches in diameter. So I know each corner is going to have a 6-inch post. Then I'm going to have a 6-inch post for these double gates, the 8-foot gates, and then I also wanted to have one here and here, just to provide extra strength for this divider, even though if they went from one side to the other side, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So what I did was I figured on 16 feet minus this length. So this length is 160 minus 16 feet, because right here we have an end post, and then we have the H bracket, which is 8 feet long. So that's 8 feet here plus 8 feet here. So when I take 160 minus 16 and then divide that by potential spans, I was trying to figure out what would be the best placement. In an ideal world, I could put them all, say, at 10 feet apart, and they would all be round numbers. Of course, that didn't happen. It almost happened with, I think, 9. Yeah, if I placed them 9 feet apart, that would have been 16 post, 15 post, 8 post, and basically 9 post. So the recommendation is between 8 and 12 feet. If you're using the round posts, it can actually be quite a bit more if you're using high tensile, just the single stranded wires. I think one of them said up to 25 feet. You can read the instructions for what you're doing. But with the goats, we would have needed to put T-post or some supports throughout. So instead of doing that, I'm just bringing in the line post a lot closer. So between 8 and 12 feet is what Red Brand was saying. So I decided to go with 10 feet. So again, I took 160, that's this length here, minus 16, and then divided that by 8, divided it by 9, divided by 10, but divided by 11, divided by 12, just to see how many line posts I would have. And so you might want to do that just to see what spacing would work out best for you. Or you can see how my fencing goes, and if you like mine, you know, at this point I'm planning on doing 10. We'll see if that changes or not. But yeah, so if you wanted to do it exactly like me, you would do 160 minus 16 divided by 10, and that would be the number of line posts you need for this side. So then I got pricing for everything. For this, I just used Tractor Supply because there are several of those in the area, as well as their website, and they have a lot of these supplies very easily. So they have lots of different fencing options, gate options. So we're pricing out the Country Line 4-foot, that's $170 a gate. The Country Line 10-foot, that's $230 a gate. Planning on 8 of the 6 to 7 inch posts, those are $24 a piece. About 50 line posts, 4 to 5 inch in diameter, those are $12 a piece. I'm going to get 2 of the 330-foot goat fence, those are $370 a piece, so I need 2 of those. That'll be $660, obviously. I'm just going to get 1 bucket of staples to start off with, that's 25 bucks. The tension wire for the H bracket, for each H bracket, so we have an H here and an H here, and that's planning on 50 per H, so this whole corner would be 100 feet. So I'm going to get a 500-foot spool for $130. Then I'm just going to get a pack of crimps and lots of bags of concrete. So then I don't think I have it on this page. Yeah, okay. So I figured on a half a bag of concrete for each line post, so that would be 25 bags, and then a full bag for the end posts, so that would be 8 bags. So that's 33 bags at $463. Those are cheaper at Lowe's and Home Depot. If you get them at Tractor Supply, they're like $5 or $6, maybe even up to $7. So for these, I went with Home Depot and Lowe's. Okay, so I think that's everything. As far as supplies, I do have a list of tools that I'll be getting, and so where possible, I'll link all of the items to their actual website description and the tools, and I'll see if I can get some affiliate links for those or not. But anyway, I definitely will post these 3. So this is the next step where we just planned everything out so that I can start ordering supplies.